Did you know the internet we rely on today started as a military experiment? Arpanet, a United States Department of Defense project, was the seed that would eventually grow into the World Wide Web. But how did a secret government network spark the global internet revolution? Join me as I dive into the history of Arpanet and challenge myself to uncover the key moments that led to the birth of the internet. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of how Arpanet became the backbone of modern global communication. Welcome to Cyron Tech, where we explore the stories behind the technology that defines our world today. In this episode, we're traveling back to the 1960s to discover the incredible origins of the internet through the development of Arpanet. Arpanet, or the Advanced Research Projects Agency Network, is often called the grandfather of the internet, and for good reason. It was the first operational packet switching network, a groundbreaking achievement that paved the way for the global network we know today. But what exactly is Arpanet, and how did it come to be? In this video, we'll explore the fascinating story of Arpanet, from its conception as a defense-funded project to its eventual role as the precursor to the internet. But first, let's set the stage and look at the technological landscape of the 1960s. The 1960s were an exciting time for technology. Computers were becoming increasingly powerful. But there was one big problem: they were isolated. There was no way for computers in different locations to communicate with one another. The United States Department of Defense, however, had a solution. The Cold War was at its peak, and the U.S. military was concerned about maintaining communication during a nuclear attack. Enter ARPA, or the Advanced Research Projects Agency. ARPA was tasked with funding innovative projects, and one of its most ambitious ideas was to create a network that could connect computers across research institutions, allowing them to share resources and collaborate more effectively. This project, Arpanet, was originally designed as a solution to make communication between computers not only possible, but resilient, even in the face of catastrophic failure.
Imagine living in a world where computers couldn't talk to one another. How would you solve that problem? Let's take a closer look at how ARPA tackled this challenge.
The concept of Arpanet took shape thanks to pioneers like Leonard Kleinrock, Vint Cerf, and Bob Kahn. In 1969, Kleinrock's team at UCLA sent the very first message over Arpanet. That message? L and O. Yes, it was supposed to be login, but the system crashed after just 2 letters. Despite the crash, this was a monumental step forward. From there, Arpanet rapidly evolved. The first 4 nodes connected UCLA, Stanford, UC Santa Barbara, and the University of Utah. But the real innovation came with the introduction of packet switching. Instead of sending data in one large piece, Arpanet broke data into smaller packets that could travel across the network independently, then be reassembled at their destination. This not only made the network faster, but also more reliable. This technique became the backbone of the internet. With packet switching, Arpanet laid the groundwork for everything we do online today, from video streaming to sending an email. But this wasn't the only innovation Arpanet brought to life. In the 1970s, Vint Cerf and Bob Kahn developed the TCP/IP protocol, which allowed different networks to communicate with each other. This was a turning point. It created the network of networks that would eventually grow into the global internet.
How do you think the ability for different networks to communicate changed the world of technology forever? Let's explore the challenges Arpanet faced as it expanded.
Building Arpanet was no easy task. The team faced major technical challenges like managing traffic across the network and making sure data didn't get lost along the way. As more universities and institutions joined Arpanet, the need for scalability and reliability became urgent. And then, there were the political challenges. Arpanet was a government-funded project, and as it grew, some argued that it represented government overreach and a potential threat to privacy. Meanwhile, securing continued funding for what was still seen as an experimental project was a constant battle. But despite these obstacles, Arpanet continued to grow. Its success wasn't guaranteed, but it overcame its critics and its technical difficulties.
If you were a decision maker at the time, would you have supported government funding for such a groundbreaking but risky project?
Arpanet's expansion continued into the 1970s, but its ultimate breakthrough came with the development of TCP/IP. By 1983, Arpanet officially adopted TCP/IP as its standard, marking the birth of the modern internet. This new protocol allowed networks to connect on a massive scale, leading to the global decentralized internet we know today. With TCP/IP in place, the internet was no longer limited to government and research institutions. It became accessible to universities, corporations, and eventually everyday people. As Arpanet connected more networks, the dream of a truly interconnected world began to take shape. By the 1990s, Arpanet was retired, but its legacy lived on as the foundation of the modern internet. Today, the internet powers almost everything in our lives: social media, video calls, shopping, entertainment, and it all began with Arpanet. From its humble beginnings as a small, closed network to its role as the precursor to the internet, Arpanet revolutionized how we communicate, share information, and collaborate globally. Without Arpanet, the world would be a very different place. Its innovations like packet switching and TCP/IP remain the foundation of the digital world. Arpanet's story is one of innovation, perseverance, and collaboration, and its legacy continues to shape the future of technology. But Arpanet was just the beginning. In our next video, we'll dive into the creation of the World Wide Web and how it took Arpanet's foundation to build the user-friendly internet we use today. So, if you're curious about how the web became the global information hub it is now, you won't want to miss that. Curious to learn more about Arpanet's impact on today's world? Explore the resources in the description box below and check out our other videos on the evolution of the internet and other tech milestones. Be sure to subscribe to Cyron Tech for more deep dives into the technology that shapes our lives. Let us know in the comments, what do you think the next internet revolution will look like?